Welcome back to my series, The Bible Doesn't Make Any Sense. Today's episode, Jeremiah chapter 11 through chapter 13. This episode is going to be a longer one, so grab a snack and settle in. When I tell you this is 3 straight chapters of God throwing a temper tantrum because he's mad that people don't want to praise him, the people of Judah and the people in Jerusalem aren't following him anymore and they're like praising other gods. Now, the people of Judah are the ancestors of the Israelites that God brought out of Egypt, with the Pharaoh and the 10 plagues and all that shit. Which, by the way, the slavery that he originally allowed them to be put into, let's not forget that part. The slavery that he only brought them out of because the Pharaoh was keeping them from praising him while they were enslaved by him. So because of the fact that the people of Judah are going against the covenant that God made with their ancestors when he brought them out of slavery and saved them, God's mad. From the time I brought your ancestors out of Egypt until today, I warned them again and again, saying, "Obey me." But they did not listen or pay attention. Instead, they followed the stubbornness of their evil hearts. So I brought on them all the curses of the covenant I had commanded them to follow, but that they did not keep. I want to remind y'all that the so-called stubbornness in their evil hearts is just them not wanting to praise that God. There is a conspiracy among the people of Judah and those who live in Jerusalem. They have returned to the sins of their ancestors who refused to listen to my words. They have followed other gods to serve them. Both Israel and Judah have broken the covenant I made with their ancestors. Therefore, I will bring on them a disaster they cannot escape. Although they cry out to me, I will not listen to them. The towns of Judah and the people in Jerusalem will go out and cry out to the gods for whom they burn incense, but they will not help them at all when disaster strikes. All because they don't want to praise that particular God. You see what I'm saying? Temper tantrum. God sounds like a 4-year-old who's mad that the friend that they just made is playing in the sandbox with another friend. You don't want to play with me and only me? Fine, I'm never speaking to you ever again. And while I'm not speaking to you, I'm gonna kill your family and destroy your land. What really gets me is verse 14. Do not pray for this people or offer any plea or petition for them, because I will not listen when they call to me in the time of their distress. So again, temper tantrum. But verses like that make me wonder why Christians even bother trying to pray over non-believers. Obviously, God doesn't give a singular fuck. What's really funny is God seems to have a particular beef with this other god named Baal. He mentions that god by name in verse 17. The Lord Almighty who planted you has decreed disaster for you because the people of both Israel and Judah have done evil and aroused my anger by burning incense to Baal. Sounds like the beef is between this God and that God, so why are the people suffering? Remember that one verse in Genesis that basically admits that there are other gods and that this God acknowledges them as other gods on his level? What if Baal was one of those other gods? They got into a fight, had a falling out, or whatever the case may be, and so now this God in the Bible is like, anyone who talks about, praises, looks at, or thinks about this Baal dude over here is gonna be suffering for forever and ever because fuck that nigga. I'm just saying, sounds like something that this God would do. But back to Jeremiah. I'm not gonna lie, Jeremiah chapter 12 is probably the reason why missionaries exist. Verse 14 through 17 says, As for all the wicked neighbors who seize the inheritance I gave to my people of Israel, I will uproot them from their lands, and I will uproot the people of Judah from among them. But after I uproot them, I will again have compassion and will bring each of them back to their own inheritance and their own country. And if they learn well the ways of my people and swear by my name, saying, As surely as the Lord lives, even as they once taught my people to swear by Baal, they will be established among my people. But if the nation does not listen, I will completely uproot and destroy it. Is this not insane to anybody but me? He's literally saying, I'm going to go into this land and I'm going to bring them all out of their land and take them away from what they've always known. And then I'm going to be merciful enough to put them back in it and give them a chance to praise me. And if they still don't, then I'm going to destroy them all. That is why missionaries think that they can just go into somebody's homeland and try to convert them to Christianity, because, that's basically what God was doing here. Now, Jeremiah chapter 13 gave me a little chuckle, because God is really extra for no fucking reason. According to this chapter, God told Jeremiah to go get a linen belt and put it around his waist, but not let it touch the water. So Jeremiah was like, cool. He bought the linen belt, put it around his waist, didn't let it touch the water. Then God told Jeremiah, now take that belt that you just went and bought and go bury it in the rocks. So Jeremiah goes and buries it in the rocks. Then God said, okay, go get the belt that you just buried within the rocks. So Jeremiah goes and gets the belt. It's all destroyed and, completely useless. Then God says this, in the same way I will ruin the pride of Judah and the great pride of Jerusalem, those wicked people who refuse to listen to my words, who follow the stubbornness in their hearts and go after other gods to worship and serve them, will be like this belt, completely useless. For as the belt is wound around the waist, so I bound all of my people of Israel and all my people of Judah to me, declares the Lord, to be my people for my renown and praise and honor, but they have not listened. God just sent Jeremiah on a wild goose chase just to make a point. Now here's something that I noticed from reading all 3 of these chapters. For someone on the outside not being indoctrinated, you can tell so easily that this is a fear tactic. You know why? Because all it's doing is telling you what's going to happen if you don't do what I tell you to do. Not once is it mentioned in these 3 chapters what happens if you do listen. Because it's not about anything else other than control. And here's the thing, it really gets me whenever Christians try to say that like the God in the Old Testament and the God in the New Testament are like different gods or something. Like Jesus being sent to die changed God in some way, shape, or form. But it says in Malachi 3:6, I, the Lord, do not change. So God is literally saying, yeah, I was the same God back then. I'm doing the exact same things that I was doing back then. I'm still doing it now. Like, if you're really paying attention and you go through all 3 of these chapters and it's God talking about how horrible it's going to be for these people who don't obey him, who don't listen to him, it's literally the exact same thing as the whole, well, you have free will to listen to me or not, but if you don't, you're going to burn in hell. Free will has never existed, either back then or now. The only difference is back then the punishment was immediate. Now the punishment is delayed. You're still going to suffer for not listening to him. You just have a choice now to change your mind, maybe. God didn't change. He didn't become a better God. He just found a different way to destroy people for not obeying him.